Yeah.
Stop guessing about things just because, we're on social media and we're going to be talking about things, but don't just take our word for it. Look into it and start testing and see exactly what's going on. I'm a Christian, and then for Lent, it's giving up things.
Okay.
We've been giving up watching TV between Monday and Friday.
Yeah. What about supplements? Which supplements do you think help? I mean, is there a stack that you've seen?
I put a few supplements with people, and there's probably like 10 different supplements I'll take regularly, and then people are like, that's obsessive.
Some people report increased hematocrit and hemoglobin, or sometimes palpitations.
You're not the only one where problems with erectile dysfunction, or you tried to have sex with your wife the other day and you just couldn't get it up for some reason, you were tired and you felt frustrated about it. We're seeing with women's health the support in communities for women, but in guys, we just don't talk about it as much.
So speaking of testosterone, then, if you could take a man and change one variable when it comes to raising his testosterone, what would it be?
As in, what would I improve on it?
Yeah, what one thing would you improve?
I'd get him sleeping.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
At least getting to sleep through the night, ideally 8 hours, but at least 7 hours.
Any
similar times.
How? Their sleep hygiene.
Get off your phone.
Yeah. Blue blocking glasses. Some say they don't really make a difference. I find I
don't wear blue
before bed.
Blue light blocking glasses that often.
Yeah.
I forget. When I do wear them, I don't notice better improvement as unless I've got like studio lights and stuff.
Right.
I have a couple of lights by my screen, so if I'm recording later at night, I very rarely am on my computer after 8 o'clock. It's helped that my daughter's there, so my Calendly stops booking at 6 o'clock. But
it seems like you can look at the telly, right, even though it's LCD screen.
Yeah,
and you fall asleep watching it.
Yeah.
But if you're on your phone.
So here's the thing: what we've done is that. I'm a Christian, and then for Lent, it's giving up things.
Okay.
We've been giving up watching TV between Monday and Friday in the evening. Now, by the time we put our daughter to bed, depending on the day, if it's a good night, we're both down by like 7:30, usually about 8:15, 8:30. And I'm in bed by 9:15 anyway. So it's not much time to watch stuff anyway. But having that screen off, but it's not just a screen, we might watch some like crime thriller or something with a cliffhanger. And
that keeps you watching again. Yeah.
So I would say be aware of what you're watching on TV, but try and have no screen time at least an hour before bed, and make sure you're not working a couple of hours before bed.
That's very true.
You can look at your late meals, like the last meals, and you might want a protein snack or something. But
cottage cheese is really good. Just watch the salt content.
Yeah, like
with some blueberries.
Little bits of ham, some peanut butter if you want a protein snack, but don't go and have a full meal at like 8:30 at night. But then the caffeine aspect. And people that say, oh, caffeine doesn't do anything to me, it's still going to have an impact on your depth of sleep.
Yeah, when do you cut off your caffeine? Around 2?
Yeah,
no later than 3?
It's like I won't have another caffeine now while we're at like 2:30.
Yeah, this is my cut off.
I might have some decaf coffee, which has still got a little bit of caffeine in it, just for the taste of coffee. But be aware of that, and also how much you're drinking water-wise. Stop drinking
too much water before bed.
It's like the antidiuretic hormone kicks in, and then if we keep drinking, it's just going to go straight through us. So alcohol, I believe, is the big one. Because because you think you're going to help you sleep. People have knocks you out.
They say, what time is it? It's 1 o'clock. That was very popular for ladies or men would have their wine in the evening to calm down after. But it actually disrupts your sleep.
Yeah.
And then with these watches, it can, you monitor your sleep, but I don't know if they're always as accurate, the types of sleeps that it's recording based on your movements. But generally you can see, did I sleep this many hours? Did I do 7 hours, 8 hours? Did I go too low and get 5 or 6 hours, which should be rare.
But there's also sleeping at pretty much the same time and waking at pretty much the same time, weekends and weekdays. Because if not, we end up getting what we class as social jet lag.
Right.
There's going to be times when you do sleep a little later or so forth.
What about supplements? Which supplements do you think help? I mean, is there a stack that you've seen helps? And there's a few that I was going to talk about with you to see if you have any experience with these. I know there's L-theanine.
Theanine, yep.
That is derived from green tea extract. And whilst you might think it's stimulating, it also has a calming effect.
Yep.
There's apigenin, which is found in chamomile tea, and I end up getting a double dose because I was
going to say, when people have chamomile tea and apigenin, it's a much better, like switching off and stopping that mind just
it helps you fall asleep sometimes.
Yeah.
I have it like we call tea time with a cup of tea before bed, not before bed, but like an hour before we're watching something on Netflix, and nothing too scary. But they have and do my apigenin. I do a bit of that. What else is on magnesium? About 600 milligrams of magnesium. Yeah, magnesium glycinate.
But and that's, you mentioned 600 milligrams. It's like, so many people take 1 or 2 tablets.
You need to have 5 or 6 of those. They're about 120 milligrams. We have at the pharmacy pure encapsulations. So they get the big, so you know what you're getting.
120 milligrams.
Yeah, each one, but you need about 5 or 6 of them to give it both enough glycine. But the glycine's slow released. And I've recently restarted, because there's 2 other things you can add to it. There's inositol. 2 to 3 grams, usually a scoopful, can really calm you down. It's been shown for people who have anxiety, and it's really good for your insulin sensitivity. And the other one was glycine, the free form. But that's a mixed bag for some people.
Keeps me awake.
It can keep you awake if your dose is too. But how much are you taking?
That was from between 1, 2, or 3 grams.
Okay, so some people require less, 500 milligrams. I've taken it for the last 2 nights so far, so good. But there was a time when I was taking what I thought was 2 to 3 grams, and then I went 3, 2, 1 and stopped. I had a little bit of a rebound effect.
Okay.
Of a little bit like this rebound anxiety. I was much more activated after I stopped it. And it was a weird recovery, and then sleep wasn't quite right. So, but I think the other night I felt I needed to I wanted to try it because, glycine in and of itself, whilst you take too much, it could be sedating. There's a whole theory of longevity and aging that our glycine levels
in the day seem to help.
Our glycine levels drop as we get older, and glycine is responsible for building collagen. It's actually found in collagen. Glycine, people who had the higher levels of glycine that were older seem to have a higher longevity compared to those who didn't. So I think more research will come out about glycine. Perhaps they think we were getting more, caveman times when we were eating more bones and bone broth and all the things that go with it. Glycine was more available than just the muscle parts of the meat. And glycine can also offset methionine, which they think is one of the reasons when you do the intermittent fasting and the benefits of fasting or low calorie diets for anti-aging purposes. They think it's because you're restricting methionine. And glycine offsets the methionine. So I think there's a lot more that needs. I mean, it seems like it's a harmless amino acid, but then too much of anything could throw off your balance.
Yeah, I had someone that for some reason she was super dosing vitamin D. She's a very, very good singer, and then her husband, me and him have become good mates, and he was like, and she was feeling absolutely ridiculously knackered. I'm like, your vitamin D was at something, it was in the thousands that came back on a test. So we put that down and she felt much better again. So even vitamin D can, it's hard to get that high dose, I know, but you can still do it. The other one for sleep, phosphatidylserine.
Yes, because serine is a precursor to glycine.
And you can
glutathione. Serine is a precursor to glutathione.
Tryptophan.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. I don't like that as much myself.
I don't take it. I tried it once.
I've had it with some clients where they've taken it. And another thing with supplements, right, and I mentioned about protocols with functional medicine, is that I put a few supplements with people, and there's probably 10 different supplements I'll take regularly. Then we look at glutathione, you look at omegas, you look at maybe digestive
your day
enzyme.
Supplements,
Yeah. And then people are like, that's obsessive. It's not obsessive. It's me wanting to feel good.
Do you take glutathione?
I take it month or 2 on, month or 2 off.
Just a liposomal form of glutathione?
Yeah. I've never tried injectable glutathione.
Well, NAC is a precursor to glutathione.
Yeah. So there's 600 milligrams of that I have on the month off.
Do you have any side effects from the NAC?
No. I'm taking it in the morning though.
Yeah. NAC can help mood.
Yeah.
Some people report NAC can help libido. Maybe it's doing something on the dopamine pathway. Maybe just improving the glutathione is what it's doing. There can be some side effects. Some people report increased hematocrit hemoglobin, or sometimes palpitations.
Yeah, there's no palpitations or anything.
Okay, but
I've gone to 1,200.
I think how palpitations came from, there's a study that showed may be causing hypoxia in the vessels, the NAC. But then it's also known to clear out if you've got a lot of mucus. It's actually a drug, NAC, in some countries.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one. I think for a while in the USA they took it off the market and then allowed it to be sold as a supplement again. So
I try to get precursors rather than the actual.
Well, the precursor would be NAC to glutathione,
so
right?
Like a lot of times, like trying to get precursors to certain things.
So NR and NMN for your NAD pathway.
Yeah. So like get your body doing a little bit of the conversion itself. If they're really in need of it, give them the glutathione first, and then like work backwards from it. So hopefully they can take more time off. But when people are telling me, oh, it's obsessive to have 10 supplements, well, you have to have alcohol just to be able to switch off at night. And then you're having all this other stuff with processed food. And before you know it, actually it's not obsessive to me to have this, to actually want to live longer.
I think there's a recent study that showed, I think it was just a simple Centrum multivitamin for older adults seemed to improve their overall health. I think they came out recently. So, and that's a cheap supplement and not probably the best one.
Exactly. And we could then look at types of B12 and stuff.
Injectable B12 or?
No, as in like rather than having like B12, having like methylcobalamin or hydroxycobalamin if they've got problems with methylation.
As an hydroxycobalamin is a injectable.
You can get injectable forms of it.
Because if you're having trouble absorbing...
If you've got bad gut health as well.
Ironically, if you're on metformin, your gut has a hard time managing it, even though it improves Akkermansia, which is very good for the fat loss, and there's a good little bacteria in there. It may affect...
Very good for neurodiversity as well, Akkermansia.
I used to take some of the exogenous things, Akkermansia, tried it, but metformin's supposed to help increase that. And it's also supposed to improve the... basically metformin somewhat could deplete your B12. So if you're having a hard time with your gut handling B12 from food, I would imagine having an injection of B12 would be
especially
helpful.
If someone's got like Crohn's or something like that.
And methylcobalamin, you said. Now that one's an interesting one because it actually boosts dopamine more than hydroxy does to a degree, but I think the methylcobalamin is the one. It's not available in this country, just hydroxycobalamin. And then the cyanocobalamin is the typical.
As in injectable methylcobalamin?
As an injectable. As an injectable. Then you just do it.
And then cyanocobalamin is like the lower quality.
Yeah, and I think it has to convert, so it's probably not the best. We do have a test at BMH that looks at, there's different factors, not just the B12 in the blood, not just the folate B12, but it's also, there's some other factors of it, if it's actually getting into your cells. And so we have that. I think it requires a urine test as well as serum test, and we can look at the whole package. Yeah, I think it's a couple £100.
That's why take all the supplements if you're not absorbing them?
Right. So if there's a better way to absorb the B12, then do the injection. Yeah. If you're on TRT and you're doing injections, it's just...
So spending £200 on testing is nothing if you're spending £40, £50 a month on different supplements that you're not absorbing. 4 months down the line, you could have paid for the test. But
the thing is, the test too, you have to know how to read them, which test to get. And it's not just, my B12 is normal on paper, because you have to dig deeper. You have to look, I think it's there's a particular biomarker that is what you test to see of the absorption of on the cellular level of your B12. And again, that's something that we have as a unique profile at BMH. If you want, I can organize that, because I'm about to run it myself to see what's going on with it.
I always like look into the testing aspects, as I say, because there's no point in spending all the money on supplements or even going down the peptide route or anything like that if like the foundations aren't there. And so the third thing, we've gone through 2 of those 4 things. The third thing is actually doing strength training and cardiovascular training for health.
Boost the health.
But the 4th thing is test, don't guess. Yeah. Stop guessing about things just because, we're on social media and we're going to be talking about things, but don't just take our word for it. Look into it and start testing and see exactly what's going on. Just because we've said those supplements, don't go out and just buy those supplements. Do you actually need those supplements? Are you going to absorb those supplements? And that's where you're going to save money long term.
What's your thoughts on creatine?
I like it, but...
Do you take it?
Yeah, I take a good, I say around 5 grams a day. It's in the electrolytes and creatine.
Yeah. And what has it done to your creatine blood test? Do you take time out before do you stop it for a week before you do a test?
No, I do it, and it's not really gone massively high.
Okay.
But I know people that take like 10, 15 grams a day.
Yeah.
And this is another thing with blood tests, right, is that I'm in also the view, if you're taking something consistently all the time, like for example, B12.
Yeah.
And a lot of blood tests say stop that B12 for 2 weeks before. I want to keep them at that level consistently to see where they're exactly at. Why are we going to dip their B12 just before doing the blood? So them show they've got. I mean, B12 is going to take a lot longer.
Because it takes a long time to leave the blood, and it influences. It may.
But if we're specifically looking at that marker,
yeah.
If we're looking at other markers, it's different. But like,
you're going to have a high level. A lot of people end up having a higher level just from certain
supplements. A lot of them cut off though a certain amount as well.
They do.
Actually get as.
I was going to go back to the creatine is that some men already tend to have a lot of bloat, water retention, especially when they add testosterone, and they add creatine on top. You're adding even more water retention, which can also potentially in some men cause some volume overload for the heart. It's got to work harder.
Do you find it hits hematocrit more?
Nothing.
Red blood cells?
No, I don't think creatine does. But I think what you're doing is increasing the volume.
With the volumization side.
Yeah, and I think that, but it can in some people cause more stress, I think, on the body. And if nothing else, it's causing more bloat.
Yeah.
So remove the cause of the bloat. Now, I do like some of the data on creatine and the brain, and the brain health
aspect,
as we get older. But if someone who's younger is constantly suffering from bloating and water retention, to stop the creatine. I've used it a lot when I was younger. I used it for a brief time in 2023. I don't think it adds that much more to it.
I don't know it's been on it more, as in performance-wise.
For the brain health as we get older.
I feel there is a slight improvement with the brain, but I don't notice side effects, and it's cheap, so I take it.
Yeah, I think it depends on the individual.
And this is where time on, time off of supplements makes a difference, right? And being aware of, if you're taking 20 different supplements and you feel bloated, what's caused it? If you added all them in at the same time, but if you're gradually putting them in,
then you know what's happening.
Change and you can see. So if the creatine is causing that, you've added that one in that week maybe, and is it a different type? Do we go from monohydrate to F-ester or so forth?
Yeah.
So
I think the studies show the monohydrate.
Monohydrate is just simple.
Yeah, and the German brand, because there could be other toxins within you just don't know.
Yeah.
And I guess that speaking of water retention, there's I think an under-discussed issue is around aldosterone. Mm-hmm. Okay, so a lot of men as we get older, when we're younger, we tend not to get that bloatiness. And as we get older, things aren't quite working right with the aldosterone-renin system. Blood pressure goes up, aldosterone is a mess. A lot of people don't know, but testosterone, exogenously, usually the injections increases aldosterone. So you're holding on to more salt, more water, and more bloat. When you're younger, you can handle this. So it's kind of an interesting area where, obviously dosing makes a difference. A lot of people will blame high estradiol on this increase in aldosterone.
It seems to be the instant thing. Water retention, estradiol.
Yeah, but I think it might go a bit further. And there are parts in medicine where they'll use things like mineral corticoid receptor antagonists to deplete the water, but protect the kidneys. But it's very niche. It's used in cardiology. I can't help but think, maybe someday this becomes more mainstream, because there may be benefits to some of these medications that boost glutathione and boost some other health indicators, not to mention removing aldosterone and water for some men. But it's something I don't think it's here for prime time yet. But I don't know if you've come across that at all or any thoughts. I know some people would recommend dandelion root, more like a short fix.
I mean, we used to look at more the diuretic aspect with but
that's not sustainable.
It was different, like having dandelion root before a show and water load into them,
I guess
and everything. You don't generalizing with health side, not really come across it as much.
Yeah, so Dr. Connor, you follow him.
Yeah.
He talks about his testosteronology, and he's all about how do you mitigate things. So he has some of his patients. He deals mostly with anabolic steroid abusers and some other older people, and he'll put them on like nebivolol, which is a beta blocker.
Yeah.
He takes it himself. Telmisartan, which is a blood pressure medication. What's it called? ARB, I think it's called. And then he also has them on some others. I had asked him a question once at a conference. I said, well, if you're going to do those, why don't you just throw in the whole mix of the treatment for people who need this? If they're on beta blocker, usually they have heart failure. Why not just throw in the one that blocks the water as well? Not spironolactone. That's going to kill a man's androgens and the DHT, but why not the ones that are safer that you could use long term? So, I mean, all of these medications come with risk, but amazingly, they also have some really good antioxidant properties and anti-aging properties as well.
This is where I'm starting to change my mind a bit more on these.
Because your own body, where my angle is, where it's coming from, is your own body is somewhat killing you as you get older, even with all the good lifestyle changes. And some of these modern medicines, especially used, like I said, in the areas like heart failure, can reverse the condition, can reverse that phenotype in many cases. An example is dapagliflozin. We've had someone, a guest on the channel, that mentions dapagliflozin as an anti-aging. That's an SGLT2 inhibitor that's for diabetes, but can be repurposed both for weight loss and protecting the kidneys. Also can help remove the water. But, everything you take has a potential side effect. So I think the caution for many of these drugs are, what if you're that one where if you take the ARB and you don't need it, you're raising your potassium too much.
Yeah.
But then some doctors who don't understand the pathway will say, oh, well, you're damaging the kidneys. No, just because potassium's up, it's up because the kidneys weren't working in the first place.
Yeah,
that's not why.
What's the actual cause?
Yeah.
What's the reason for
Or they're worried about there is a small side effect with some of these SGLT2 inhibitors that they will cause kind of really bad urinary infection, to where you possibly get sepsis if you're not. It was rare, very rare, but it can happen. You would know in the first few weeks. So this is why there's caution against just using medications. But I mentioned because there's an interesting approach for Dr. O'Connor. He sometimes will recommend some of these medications as a preventative along with androgens. And it's not really a thing we do here in the UK. That's an American
I notice it
approach.
more like your Hunter Williams and people like that, where it's like put metformin and stuff in
right,
there.
Metformin. And when we had this roundtable discussion with Dylan Gemelli that came on the channel, he talked about the SGLT2 inhibitor, and he talked about some of these other medications. And I think that's kind of going into more the anti-aging longevity. But, I've kind of come around as, again, when you're younger, you think, this life is bliss, don't take anything that you don't need to take. But if your own body is changing and there are certain medications that changes that phenotype back, and you just have to set it and pretty much forget it like you do with your TRT, could this be an adjunct to optimizing?
And that's where going into, and obviously we're not going into that discussion, but peptides like epitalon as well. I took that for 20 days and I had to go and change my contact lenses because my eyesight improved.
Interesting.
And the optician were like, hang on, that doesn't happen when you hit 40s. I'm getting more migraines and I haven't had any gluten or anything, so can you just check? And it lowered the prescription.
So that's an unlicensed medication or research, right? So epitalon. Back in the peptide. So I was talking about like repurposing prescription medications that have a lot of research and studies.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'll never get the pharmaceutical companies to talk about it. Not that they wouldn't love to. It's only because of the strict regulation around promotion outside of label.
Yeah.
And then it's up to doctors who can see a benefit. But even then, there has to be some evidence before doctors would prescribe that. So I find it interesting, not even related to anything we do at BMH, but personally, I look up at these things and I find it really interesting to see could these be different approaches.
I think you guys, do you do LDN? Yeah. So that's something I do want to look into trying. But if you go to have it on licensed medical side, when you look at NHS use, it's like 25 milligrams is the minimum they can do. But you're looking at like 0.5 to 4.5-ish titrating up and seeing that for more longevity and getting better results elsewhere. So that's something that's
also good for the autoimmune. It's LDN. Those who suffer from autoimmune, it seems to re-regulate the autoimmune system. So what one habit do you think every man should do starting tomorrow or after they watch this? You said get more sleep.
We've said about sleep, so I don't want to say that again.
No, you said it, yeah.
But I think be more open about their health. Stop hiding things, because if you're going through something, another man is 100% certainly going through it as well. You're not the only one where they've got problems with erectile dysfunction, or you tried to have sex with your wife the other day and you just couldn't get it up for some reason. You were tired and you felt frustrated about it. And we're seeing with women's health the support in communities for women, but in guys, we just don't talk about it as much. Guys come to me and they say, I had a guy yesterday that said to me, I went out for a weekend and with a woman and I've just can't get it up anymore. And he just had a hair transplant and it was going down the aspect side of the stress on his system, and he had other underlying medical conditions going on anyway. But he said, I feel really embarrassed talking about it. Don't be. one, I'm running a men's health clinic when it comes to the functional medicine side of things. So people talk about this to me all the time. And this is something we need to talk about so we don't hide it, because guys that are hiding these things and keeping them to themselves, they become more stressful, they build up. We see suicide rates really, really high at the moment. And I believe it's the highest rates of suicide for 30 years. And the most at-risk demographic are guys in their 40s.
Yeah.
And guys just aren't talking about it. And I've had friends from school that have committed suicide. And I just know that if there was much more supportive, rather than just being that male, like, how we're going to laugh at it. We need to push, we need to be there, but we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So if there's one habit, I would say, is it habit? Actually being more open and talking about things, but I'm going to say it's a habit. Just talk about this stuff.
That's a good point. So it would be the one message that if you can send to every man, that would be what? Just talk about it.
Stop putting it to the side. Stop thinking that your children do come first. Like, I know that with being a dad, it's harder to then put yourself in front of your kids, in front of your family. But if you are not healthy, you cannot be as good a dad as you could be. You could not be as good a business owner, a good husband, son. So you can improve in those things and show up better. You'll stop being as reactive if you just start acting on this stuff. Don't wait until tomorrow. Use, for example, my dad's story. He seemed perfectly healthy in theory to the Western medicine world at 47, and he was pushing to retire at 55, and he died.
Yeah.
So don't hold back. Just do something.
That sounds good. That's good advice. Well, thank you, Ollie, for being with us. And for those who are watching, if you have questions or comments that you want to leave for Ollie, please do so below, as we do answer many of those questions, or for us as well at BMH. And until next time, to your health, to your wellness, this is Mike.